Town Hall 10 v Town Hall 10 Electrone 3-star without any heroes. And let's have a look at how the mini clan and our main clan Five Eyes has fared in their first ever Clan War Leagues. G'day folks, Sparkman here, and welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time to the channel. Now, both Anzac Gamers, the clan that all of our minis are in, it was owned by one of our members, and Five Eyes, our main clan, are in their first ever Clan War Leagues. So, just very quickly, Anzac Gamers is in Gold League 1. We've lost our first 3, but that were against the top 3 clans in our current league. So, I'm guessing we're going to end up staying in this sort of same position we are. We're not too fussed about winning or losing, really, just about getting some medals for the minis. Not fussed. And, for example, I'm doing my raid here without heroes. So we're going to keep upgrading our heroes and not really mind about whether we have them up or not. It's not the end of the world. Now, getting into this replay, this was probably the prime replay for this video. And obviously, you can see firsthand, it's not a max Town Hall 10 base I'm attacking. And the reason I'm showing the replay, however, is because I was very happy with the way that the raid was dealt with. So the plan was drop a few loons to take out that archer tower and also suss out a heat seeker, and then drop a blimp just outside this barracks over here. The reason for that is that the blowers have a little gap just on that side over there. So if the blimp comes through here and I drop it just about where that barbed altar is, rage, clone, etc., hopefully it'll take out everything in the area and at least one, if not both, of the blowers there, which it does do. And I have a poison there because obviously Clan War League's not quite sure it's in the clan castle, etc. The plan is then to just identify which side was the best to come at the Lalo from, depending on which blowers may or may not be taken down, is effectively what was going to help me in that strategy. Anyway, let's move into it now. And you can see first off, drop 3 loons. 2 was probably needed, but I dropped 3 anyway. The blimp down, and I ended up popping it just over that alt tower, the barb altar, as I mentioned, and then got everything going here. I do decide to freeze the Inferno tower. I missed the Archer tower, so that's one tiny small hiccup, but could be improved. And I managed to clear that whole section, and obviously just missed the Inferno tower there, but no biggie. Moving on to the next part of the raid, we have here Hound and a number of loons being dropped. I think in hindsight I dropped a couple too many loons. Those last 2 didn't need to drop down. I also then, a little bit after that, dropped the Hound over here. But you'll note a couple of things at this particular moment. I only have 2 loons for this left cannon. Freeze needed to take it down in 1 hit. And I do the same for this Archer tower up here as well when I drop for that. So those were the other sort of 2 areas outside of that freeze that prevented this from being a textbook perfect raid, but I was bloody happy with how it went down. And anyway, you'll notice throughout the raid, all of the hastes are covering majority of the defenses. The reason is, and it's very important to note this, obviously Archer tower not quite, but close enough. The shadow of the balloon is what actually matters. It doesn't matter where the balloon is, but if the shadow is inside the spell, then the loons are affected by that spell. Anyway, we'll move through this now, and I drop things in somewhat of an ordered fashion, so there's a clean path through the base going clockwise. And also in a way so that once they do get to this sort of wizard tower mortar section, they sort of split off, and you'll notice that some go down to clear this section here with the Inferno and others with the Archer Tower mortar air defense. And again, haste there covering most defenses, and this is where they sort of split off and divert in their various paths. Haste there for that section, and the Hound, I had 3 Hounds to tank that area. And finally, again, another haste on this section here. And this particular moment here is a really good example as to the shadow of the haste actually being effective. It doesn't look at all like the balloons should be affected by a haste. on this expo here, purely because it's only covering the very tip corner of it. But you notice the shadow is inside the haste spell, and when the loons do move off from this expo, they are still hasted. Let's set it there, and there we go. Anyway, I'll skip through this. One haste in play. Obviously, it wasn't a max base, but as I said, the intention for this wasn't to try and demonstrate a fantastic hit against a max base. It was to try and illustrate the basics of the Lalo, the haste use, the pathing, and dropping the loons correctly, which I almost did right. Anyway, let's move on to Spackman in Five Eyes and see how Clan War Leagues are going there. And here we are. So on the main account, Spackman in Five Eyes, and just quickly, if you can or haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and throw those notifications on. Keep updated with everything I'm bringing out, and it'll really help this channel grow and get bigger and bigger. And it's great to see some support from people, so thank you in advance if you've done that or if you're going to do that. Anyway, you can see here 3 losses in a row and getting absolutely blitzed in this current war. So we found ourselves in Masters 1. We had a lot of debate going on leading into Clan War Leagues as to whether we should drop some Town Hall 12s to get lower and whatnot. We opted not to. I was a big debater on the let's not drop people's side, and so a lot of failure on me there. So we're not deliberately dropping per se, but we're effectively we want to drop. We want to go down to Masters 3 or Crystal. Reason being, we're not about having our top Town Hall 12s in every single war. We want to run our Clan War Leagues in a fair way that's kind of proportional to the number of Town Halls we have. Let's say, for example, that a third of our clan is Town Hall 11. I don't know the actual figures off the top of my head. But if a third of the clan is Town Hall 11, we want a third or 5 of every one of our wars to have about 5 Town Hall 11s, give or take 1. And same for the 10s, even 9s, which we have, and 11s. So I think in War 2 or 3, we even have a couple Town Hall 9s in there. And in this war, for example, obviously we're up against these lads who we've now boosted well into first. You're welcome to division them. But they obviously have 15 Town Hall 12s. And this is their final one, which is still a pretty decently, it's not a rush Town Hall 12, basically. And we have, our first Town Hall 11 is here, number 7, and we even have 2 Town Hall 10s in Beck and Rambo down the bottom. So obviously, we're not here trying to win. All we're basically doing is doing our best to star every base, get that clan experience, obviously, because we're only level 4, and also give a lot of people the experience in doing 10v12 2-stars and 11v12 2-stars. And I'll give a little shout out to Beckstar here. I'm not going to show the replay. Sorry. Because I'm just cookie running through mine today. But Beckstar, good on you. First ever 10v12 2-star for them. And it's a hell of a great improvement. So I know they were very proud of that. Anyway, we'll start off with my first replay here. Now, this was, as soon as I saw this base, I knew immediately what I wanted to do with this, and I flagged it straight off the bat. And I identified, obviously, I don't have the max Edrags or heroes, but everything else is largely up there. We finally got the max loons. I'm real happy about that. I identified that it seemed here that a pretty simple queen walk running through the base would hopefully take down all the air defense and the town hall. I was a little bit concerned as to whether the queen walking through this path down here would divert into the middle. So I had to delay dropping the Edrags just to make sure she stayed strong and true. So I started off with a little bit of actually, we'll just get started here. Started off, I think, dropping a minion up here just because if the queen was going to hug the side, I didn't want her following down. I wanted to jump her into the town hall there. And once that was done, drop the baby dragon here, and then the baby dragon would clear up that path, create the funnel for the queen. And now we're dropping the queen here. And I didn't drop the healers straight away, purely because I didn't want the healers to get too close to this Inferno Tower. Unfortunately, the queen didn't quite pass as I intended, and they all largely met their fate anyway. So we'll go through here. So the queen's passing as she should, and I dropped the healers there, as you can see, and I probably should have waited till maybe after the cannon there, and then maybe would have avoided their fate with the Inferno Tower. But at this point, I did not expect the queen to go inside for the Builder Hut. That really threw me. So I preemptively dropping the jump there and hoping to God that she passed correctly. So rage to get through this area here, and also hopefully get out of the range of the Inferno as soon as possible. But that's not to be. The healers are dwindling. You know, they're on their last legs already. Poor little buggers. But at least the Queen Walker's worked. So she goes in. And part of the plan here also was to get that Dark Elixir storage with the original Queen Walk. Had I been thinking about it, I probably should have tried to drop another minion on that to clear that up as well. Because in the end, the queen paths around the town hall to the left once she takes it down, instead of up to the air defense, as I was hoping. And I haven't done a queen walk in quite some time, so don't get me wrong, I was still really happy with how this went. And under rage, didn't need to utilize the queen ability just yet, which was good. But obviously, because of that Dark Elixir storage, she goes around. But anyway, I've got to stop here because I've missed the start of the Edrags. So I dropped a few around the outside here to begin the funnel, and the king up here. I had intended with the king to path him straight down the guts here, or the gutter, and use his ability, because I knew that the storages there would hold up the Edrags and move him away from the inside, which is where I really wanted them to be. However, I did forget to utilize his ability. I'm still pretty new with Edrags, to be honest, so don't get me wrong, I was really happy with how this raid went. And it went, I don't know if better or worse than I expected, but I was happy with the raid regardless. And Warden ability there, I don't know what I think on that, to be honest. I think I probably could have held that. But kind of running through this here real fast. In the end, the Slammer paths mid, and actually there was also a section earlier on. You might have seen it. I forgot to pause it at the time. We had the an edrag coming at the eagle here, and the queen on the edrag. I had two freezes. I used one to freeze both of them and hoped that the edrag would take him out. Had I used that second one on that same section, who knows if it may have changed the outcome of the raid by taking down both the eagle and the queen in that one go there. But there's a good chance that this air defense might have ended up preventing it anyway. But as you can see here, those loons end up taking down basically that whole middle section, and probably would have taken down the warden too. Oh, they did. Oh, I forgot about that. Without the queen. So we're going through here, and I will skip into it because I don't want this to be a hugely long video. But we end up taking down most things here and end the raid on 87%. And considering I didn't have max edrags, and I'm still relatively new to the edrag strategy, someone here who's got a bit more experience than the max edrags probably would have 3-starred that. But considering this was me hitting up to the #1 base in the wall of max base, I was really happy with the effort. So we'll call it there for today. As I mentioned, 5 eyes, we're planning on dropping to, we'll see how we go. We want a league, as mentioned, where we're able to utilize all our bases and not just the strongest. So I'm thinking that's going to be, we're thinking Crystal 1 or Masters 3, but you know, time will tell. We'll have to wait a good month or two or however long until we actually find ourselves in that situation. Anyway, thanks for stopping past, and we'll see you next time.